Okay, my name is Ronald L. Thomason. The L is for Lee, it's after my dad. He was Lee Victor Thomason. And right now I'm retired and currently working part-time at Northwood Academy as a substitute teacher. Started off as a patrol officer, then went to detectives, then went to SROs, then went to patrol lieutenant, then traffic lieutenant. Had two grandparents and found a picture of my great-grandparent who was a slave, Zach Mims. And he lived to 100. And that's when I started getting more and more involved with Black history. Not your traditional, Black history, but some of the unknown stories about Black history. There's a lot of unknown stories out there. People just don't realize that they have to dig. You got the more popular ones you see on TV, but there's some untold stories that really should be in history books. There's a lot of history here in Summerville. When I first started, I was one of 3 Black officers here in Summerville Police Department. And gradually I was, for a while, the only one. Summerville has a good representation, of Black Americans, and sometimes it doesn't reflect in the police department. And there was a lot of history that a lot of the officers didn't know about some of the Black Americans in Summerville. Fallen Edwards is one that comes to mind. He was part of the experiment in Alabama, where they basically abused him. But a lot of people didn't know that, unless they did look into the history. That's why that's part of the unknown stories that's going on here. The only, it's non-traditional. Sometimes you gotta get to the libraries. Talk to your parents. Basically a lot of the African American children should talk to their parents. There's a lot of history. I found out a lot of history from my family, from my parents, and from my brother, cousins. There's history out there. A good story is my wife. She was adopted. She found out who her adopted daddy was. She dug and dug and dug, finally found his sister. Come to find out, he had a bunch of sisters. And we went to a family reunion and found out that her adopted name, or her family name, was part of the history of North Carolina. And she found out that she was part of the Mooney clan, and she was part of Princess Sylvie, who came from Africa and was bought by Colonel Mooney, and a lot of history there. So many historical things about Black history that is American history, and it shouldn't be just celebrated one month. It should be in the history books. And same thing with Hispanics. Cinco de Mayo. It's part of American history. America is very diverse. Irish, English, French, Spanish, Mexican. It's all part of American history. So to limit us to 1 month is doing us an injustice. It's history, and let's celebrate American history.